Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Jessica here. In today's video, I'm going to be giving a makeover to this buffet. So I found this buffet listed on Facebook Marketplace for $25. I messaged the seller, asked if we could head that way, come pick it up. So my husband and I jumped in the truck and we went. It's about 45 minutes from our house. We went and picked it up, and when we got there, the guy said that once he listed it, his phone blew up with messages of people interested in this. So I was very glad to be able to get my hands on it. But this piece is going to be a ton of work. It has a lot of damage. It looked like it has had some water damage. It is in need of a lot of help. So if you would like to see a transformation and all the repair work needed, just keep watching.
So like I said, this piece is in rough shape. It has a lot of missing veneer pieces and scratches, and it is just overall in rough condition. It is also very mildewy and musty smelling and has some signs that it's had a little bit of water damage. The tabletop of this is made of veneer, and in the back some of it has chipped off along with other pieces of the buffet. So to start this project off, I am going to give this thing a good cleaning using a wet rag with Dawn dish soap.
This thing is very dirty. It's very mildewy and stinky, so it is in desperate need of a really good cleaning.
After I cleaned it with a soapy rag, I came back with a clean wet rag to remove any of the soap residue. So along this bottom trim of the buffet, there is a lot of veneer that has chipped off, so I grabbed a chisel and I started to just remove all of the veneer on that bottom piece. Also, on the underside of the tabletop, there was a broken chipped veneer, so I just went ahead and removed all of that as well. In the back of the tabletop, the veneer was chipped really badly, so I removed the loose veneer and I cleaned up the edges a bit, and I will be filling that in. For the drawers, I removed all of the hardware and gave them a good cleaning. On one of the drawers, the edge piece had come loose, so I grabbed some Gorilla wood glue and I applied it to the holes of the dovetail and then firmly pressed the drawer back into place and allowed that to dry.
All right, so I have the table out in my back porch, so I have better ventilation because I'm gonna be doing stuff. Stuff's happening. Okay, so I've been looking this piece over and I noticed that the top is solid wood, but it is sandwiched between two layers of veneer. There's a veneer on the underside of it and 2 layers of veneer on the top. I'm thinking about taking off that veneer and getting to the natural wood. There is a chip in the back, the first layer of veneer on the top, and there's just some scratches and stuff, and I don't know if I'll be able to sand it out. But my mom recommended that I try sanding it first before I rip off the 2 layers of veneer, just to see if maybe I can stain it or if it's usable. If not, I really just want to rip off that veneer and get to the natural wood underneath so that I can stain it, and I think a 2-tone would look awesome on this piece. So anyways, I am really excited to give it a try. So I'm gonna sand it real quick, see if it's usable, if anything happens. I doubt it, so I am probably gonna be ripping this veneer off, and I'm very excited about it. So anyways, let's get to it.
I grabbed my hand orbital sander and I am using 120 grit sandpaper. I wasn't sure how the veneer would sand down, so I didn't want to use a lower grade of sandpaper and risk of damaging the veneer.
So my conclusion is that it looks like it might work by sanding the top of the veneer. It would save me a lot of time. It's not the most quality, but I think once I stain it, maybe it will look a lot better.
So I finished sanding off the finish of the tabletop. Because there is a missing piece of the veneer in the back, I'm going to be filling it in using this plastic wood filler. I just squeezed out the needed amount onto the missing veneer area and then used a putty knife to work it down into that crack. This wood filler dried really quick, so it wasn't too long before it was dry and I was able to come back with the hand sander and sand it down smooth. I also used the plastic wood filler to fill in some of the cracks in the bottom portion of the buffet. Since there were some missing chunks of the wood out of the bottom, I'm going to try to fix them using a little scrap piece of Luan board that I had on hand. I set it in place and traced out the shape that I needed to fill this in. There are 2 places on the bottom half of the buffet that needed repairs, so I did the same for both areas. I used a vice grip to hold the little piece while I cut it out using a jigsaw, and then I sanded it down using my hand sander. I used some wood glue and I used clamps to hold it in place, and then I let it dry overnight. Then I came back with the wood filler and I filled in those holes. And this method worked pretty well for me to cover the missing veneer pieces, although it is not perfect, but it was a good option to be able to fix it. There was also a crack in the veneer in one of the doors, so I went in, used some wood glue, and then clamped it down and let that dry. The back piece of the buffet was in really rough condition. It was warped and there was some holes in it and it just looked really bad, so I decided to pull that off and I'm just gonna replace it. So now I am coming in with a 220 grit sandpaper to smooth out this tabletop. So because I used the wood filler to fill in the broken veneer, I know that that wood filler is not going to stain very well. It's going to be very obvious that I had filled that in. So I decided to go with another method of using paint as a base and then coming back with stain to darken it up.
Have you ever done something and as soon as you did it and while you were doing it, you thought to yourself, I hope this turns out okay, because I'm afraid this might not turn out okay. Well, I just had one of those moments. I just tried to stain this thing and I'm a little nervous about it, so we'll see how it turns out.
So I put another coat of stain, hoping that maybe it would darken up nicely.
This was a mistake.
So moral of the story is, don't try this method that I did because it didn't work for me. So I grabbed my handy dandy hand sander and I started sanding to remove all of the stain. So I removed the hardware off the cabinet doors and I took them off. And I am going to be using this Zinsser Cover Stain Primer. I used a roller to roll it on the entire buffet. I applied 2 coats of the primer to the tabletop as I was a little worried that some of that stain that I used may bleed through it, but thankfully I did not have any bleed through. For the drawers, I used a sanding block to give a light scuff sanding to the entire drawer fronts, and then I primed them using the same primer. And now that everything is primed and ready to go, it is time to start painting. I am using this Behr chalk paint in the color of Pale Sepia. I bought this chalk paint from Home Depot. This is a paint that they mix the color up for you up front at the desk. This is really good paint. I have used a couple different colors of the Behr chalk paint and I have been really pleased with the outstanding coverage, and it goes on really nicely, and I just really like this paint. So if you are looking for a good chalk paint that is very affordable, definitely check out Behr chalk paint. After applying 2 coats of paint to all of the drawers and the buffet, it is now time to seal it, and I am using this polyurethane, water-based polyurethane. I applied 2 coats of the sealer to everything, and to the tabletop, I went ahead and I applied 3 coats just for added protection. And for the finishing touches, I'm going to be lining the drawers with this pretty drawer liner. I bought this liner at Walmart. Now for the hardware, I am using a paint and primer and 1 spray paint. After applying a few coats of the paints, I'm going to be sealing it using a matte clear enamel spray. Now for the back, I got a 4x8 Luan sheet. It was about $10 for the sheet, and I used the old backing that I had pulled off of the buffet to trace the shape that I needed out onto the board, and then I cut it out using a circular handsaw. With my hubby's help, I nailed it into place using a nail gun. I got some new knobs for the cabinet doors. And now it is time to put everything back together, and I am super excited to show you the final look. But before that, let's remember what this buffet used to look like when I first got it. And after tons of work, here it is now.
Let's talk numbers real quick. I figured I have about $60 total in cost of redoing this. $25 for the buffet, $10 for the Luan sheet for the back of the buffet, $6.24 for the drawer liners, $7.76 for the new knobs, and for paint, primer, sealer, and other supplies, I figured I have about $11 in that. So yeah, that is a total of $60 all in cost. So I've listed the buffet on Facebook Marketplace at $275. So if I do sell it for that price, I will make a profit of $215. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you are not already a subscriber to my channel and you like DIY, crafty things, home renovations, home decor ideas and tips and tricks, and furniture flipping, well, then you will like my channel. So be sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys later in another video. Bye.